What is good, YouTube? This is Vortex, your boy. I'm back with a different upload here. Wanted to actually pretty much just actually have a brief conversation um, about Kyrie Irving and the pretty much the dilemma of the trade talk going around. Pretty much where he wants to go, where he should land. What teams should really consider him as trading value, because it's pretty much a circus right now. Ever since this announcement happened a few short days ago, and I've been talking to buddies of mine at my job, and you know even as you all see putting on my uploads and stuff, um, with my reaction videos to these things. I kind of wish that I started doing the reaction videos around the NBA draft itself, because the hype around that, and even with what happened with Jimmy Butler and being traded, that was a big shock for me personally, and around the league when it comes to the fans itself. Don't mind the sound in the background. That's my fan blowing, because it is hot in my room. But guys, I just wanted to chat with you all a little bit on this topic here, just because it really is a big deal, because Kyrie, in his young career, at the age of 25, he's been to three straight NBA Finals, won one, and we when we sit back and we think about his decision, right? And the reports going around that it was kind of rumored that he was considering asking for a trade right after the Cavaliers won the NBA championship 2 years ago, 2 seasons ago. And it was we just sitting back and thinking, like, wow, like what if he would have requested the trade at that time? I think it would have had more. It would have held even more weight at that time, um, to where it would have been a even bigger deal, just because he finally, when you think about it, he finally gets the ring that he's been chasing since he hit the league, pretty much post LeBron, because pretty much LeBron left and then Kyrie came through the door. So it's just like, it's pretty much just, you sit back and you think, like, what if Kyrie did say, hey, since I just got this ring, I want to leave now. Trade me during the off season, type of thing. That would have hit the fan quickly, and we would have been talking about this, what we're talking about now, a lot more heavier 2 years ago. And so we sit back, we really ponder, with the situation with Kyrie, and him wanting to be, the focal point of a team, of a squad, and he's pretty much saying, like, I want 75% of the touches, 80% of the touches. I want to be the go-to leader. The next question pretty much is, can Kyrie Irving be a leader on a team? Can he lead a team to a championship? And just before I got off of work, I really sat back, and I had a conversation with a couple of my coworkers, and I was just like, we even brought this, we even talked about this. Can he be a leader? And I simply said, I was like, he can't, because he hasn't had the chance to. Because you figure he comes through the door with Cleveland at the time. Once LeBron left, everything just went downhill for the team as a whole. And he was pretty much just fighting, scratching and clawing, just to get wins at the time. Plus he started to have a couple injuries here and there, that really stunted his his seasons a little bit before LeBron came. I mean, even after when LeBron came back, he still was having some injuries here and there. I mean, it's a part of the game. Most of the times, most NBA players do have lingering issues with body, with their bodies, and it just injuries change uh, how players in the game, in the NBA play. I mean, we just thinking about Derrick Rose and what could have been with his career had he not gotten injured after his MVP season. But Kyrie, eh, again, guys, we don't know if Kyrie can. He had a big game 2 seasons ago in the finals. He came through in the clutch. That was that season. Prior to that, prior to LeBron being there, he really didn't. He couldn't prove himself because Cleveland never really, to my knowledge, Cleveland never went to the playoffs after LeBron left. Going off my memory, but once he came back, that's when they got back to winning and of course got to the finals and stuff. Uh, but at that moment, Kyrie getting those clutch moments in the finals against Golden State 2 seasons ago heightened his status in the league, and maybe that's the reason why he was considering being traded, because at that moment, because the other thing, guys, when you think about it, a lot of people were considering Kyrie to be the MVP of the NBA Finals. That 2 seasons ago, but per the stats, and I even did my own logs on the stats. LeBron, he led in all the stats in the finals that season, and that's the reason why he got the MVP. But if you just sat back, if you didn't go by what was on paper, if you just sat back and just watched, if you really paid attention to what Kyrie was doing in those crucial games and what he was doing specifically in that that clutch game that he came through, you will really sit back and think like, man, Kyrie deserved to be the MVP in that finals. So again, he with Kyrie coming through in the clutch 2 seasons ago, and that heightened his status in the league. He was probably considering reasons why he was considering being asking for a trade was because he was thinking that now his status can just change from a number 2 to a number 1 guy, and that's why he was probably thinking, and you really can sit back and say, well, technically Kyrie was the number 1 go-to guy before LeBron came. That's understandable, but when LeBron comes in, with the accolades that he's coming into the door with, the championships that he's coming into the door with, it's like, okay, all right, well, you're automatically the captain of the squad, and then I have no choice but to be the co-captain type of thing. That's your number 2 type of thing, like in Star Trek, the Next Generation. But for those of you who ever watched that series back in the 90s. But the thing with this situation is that it is shocking, but again, it's still a business, because again, like I mentioned before, Jimmy Butler being traded during the NBA draft, that was shocking like crazy, because I mean, again, granted, there were lingering issues in Chicago with Jimmy and the organization, but you still weren't expecting Jimmy to get traded. At least I know I was. So, there, you hear the rumors that Kyrie may have some issues with LeBron that LeBron didn't know about. You hear about LeBron saying, supposedly saying that he's devastated, he's blindsided by Kyrie's decision to say, I want to get traded. And then a couple of days later, after, I guess, simmering down, he's like, all right, well, I'm cool now, um, I'm cool now, and I, make, do what y'all got to do. I'm gonna go over here and have this workout with Eric Bledsoe from the Phoenix Suns. But I sit back and I try to wrap my mind around the whole situation, and then after wrapping my mind around like as to why the reasons why Kyrie wants to go, to now where should he go? Where would he fit best? What team can he be able to go to that he would automatically be a number one? Again, granted, it's been rumored he really wants to go to New York. Other teams is he wouldn't mind playing for his Miami and Minnesota and San Antonio. Boston comes into play. The Phoenix Suns come into play. So that's literally roughly 6 teams. But then now it's being reported that there's 20 other teams. There's 14 other teams, so that's 20 teams in total that have put their names in the hat for trying to land Kyrie. And I sit back and I'm about to pretty much talk to you all about this next section here, the main section of this video. We really gotta dig deep and try to figure out where Kyrie would fit perfectly. Now, me personally, I was telling people, on paper and per both situations, again, because now he's saying, now it's been rumored that he really wants to play for New York. You figure with the situation with Melo and the New York Knicks, and the situation now with Kyrie and the Cleveland Cavaliers, you automatically, I would automatically assume, why not just swap both players plus some draft picks thrown in there? Boom, both players are happy. They get what they want. They both want out of their the organizations that they're currently signed to, and that's that, quick and easy. But that whole situation with Melo and in the New York Knicks organization, that whole situation is that is just a whole bunch of mess, and we really don't know if Melo will even be traded to a team like Houston or even Cleveland. So because those are basically the two main teams that he wants to go to, is either playing with LeBron or playing with CP3 and James Harden in Houston. So again, on paper, to me, the perfect fit for this situation, for this Kyrie trade, would be to go to New York. That way both Melo and Kyrie get what they want. Now, when you fit in, you talk about Minnesota, the reports now are that the only pieces that they would really truly give up that they can give up is Andrew Wiggins and maybe a couple other pieces off the bench, and on top of some draft picks, just to land Kyrie. Because they just got Jimmy Butler, so there's really no reason to even retrade sending Jimmy somewhere else. That just doesn't make any sense. Like, you just get him, then you decided to again, I understand it's the business standpoint, but there was a reason why they traded for Butler in the first place, to reunite him with Tom Thibodeau. So, which is a perfect fit for him. And then you just signed Taj Gibson, former Chicago Bull, and again he for 30-something games, 20-something games played for my squad, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and even it still got me hot. He got called up to the stage during Westbrook's MVP speech, and Westbrook's like, "These are my guys," Taj Gibson being one of them, and then turns around, Taj is like, "Well, I got to think about myself and my family, and plus, my former coach and former teammates over here in Minnesota. So I think I'm gonna go over to Minnesota." So that's what he pretty much does. But that's neither here nor there. But you're not trading Cat. You're not trading my homie Karl Anthony Towns. You're not doing that. He's already starting to show glimpses of more dominance in his very young career, rolling into his 3rd season coming up soon. So you're not giving up those pieces. It would have probably worked better if around this time, if Butler was still in Chicago. They didn't trade Levine and Dunn to Chicago. If they would have traded, if Cleveland Cavaliers would have traded Kyrie to Minnesota, it would have worked out best. Then Levine and Dunn could have went to Cleveland. Cleveland gets the pieces that they need, because again, when you think about it, Cleveland has to get back something great. They have to, for this very young, very talented Kyrie Irving. They have to trade for something valuable, plus some draft picks for the future. They need that. Because LeBron, Mr. GM, Mr. Player on the floor / GM on the, off the court. LeBron James would not be happy if Kyrie was leaving and the team itself didn't get anything back in return. So, we sit back and we really look at this situation, and it's just like, Cleveland needs something crucial back that they're automatically losing out of this out of Uncle Drew, out of the cat that a lot of people again think that really was the reason why Cleveland got their first championship 2 seasons ago. And then when you look at also you have to look at the San Antonio Spurs. A lot of fans are saying that's a perfect fit for him because obviously the man, the myth, the legend himself, Greg Popovich, Coach Pop, him going to San Antonio definitely would be a perfect fit. Again, granted, Tony Parker's there, but he's aging, he's getting older, body's shutting down. You have Patty Mills there, who's a good enough backup. You have DeJounte Murray, who's pretty much fitting in where he can. You have these young talented point guards. So if you were to bring Kyrie over, who would you trade Kyrie for? And a lot of people would be considering LaMarcus Aldridge off top, just because it's like he's up and down, more so down within Coach Popovich's system, because he had more control over in Portland, because he was pretty much like the number one go-to guy. Over in Popovich's system, it's a balanced offense. We all know this. It's a perfect offense technically. Yes. Leonard is technically the number one, but it's still a balanced offense. Leonard's going to get his, but it's going to be toned down some. He's going to play more so on the defensive end. He's going to get his points, of course. But we really have to consider what would how Kyrie would fit in that situation, and how what ties, what players would they really give up. I mean, they have pieces that they can toss in with LaMarcus, and you would also consider if Simmons wouldn't have went to Orlando, he would have probably maybe even been a piece there to be traded to Cleveland. Probably even would have been a perfect fit for him in Cleveland's system. So it's a lot to really take in, to really try to figure out what the best place for Kyrie to go to. Now the bad thing, I'm gonna go back to New York real quick. The bad thing about Kyrie going to NY, again, it's a perfect scenario, because Kyrie would love to go to New York, but he would automatically lose his chances of going back to the finals. Automatically. It would benefit Melo more, because it would automatically you would automatically assume that Cleveland's going back to the finals next season. But going with one ISO player to the next ISO player, I don't know how Melo would fit in Cleveland's system, because his ISO is